Welcome to the Collector Cave, and tonight we have another Mezco 1/12 collective figure. This is Slugfest from the Rumble Society, which is Mezco's own IP they've created. And Slugfest has been running the Emporium on their website. So the Emporium's been up for probably a couple years now, and that's where you get a lot of Rumble Society stuff, swag, things like that. So they finally came out and made Slugfest. And I don't know a whole lot about this character. There's a write-up about him on their website. I think he was a pit fighter, and now he runs Pete's Depository, whatever that is. I don't know. But pretty cool packaging. There's the figure in front here. There's a stamp here. What does that stamp say? I haven't even looked at that yet. Oh, it's a Slugfest Emporium. That's the symbol. And then that's a pretty cool, some artwork there from Mezco of Slugfest. And then down here below it says Junk, Moonshine, and Repair. And there's the Rumble Society logo. And then on top we see a cool logo of Slugfest with some wrenches and the gear, the cog. And on the side, back this out here, another cool, this is a cool shot. To me it looks very Art Deco. This whole thing here, really neat. 1/12 collective pose play display. And then on the back, you get a nice little more artwork of Slugfest. So this is pretty cool. I weighed this package. This is a heavy package, and it weighed 2 pounds 7 ounces. So this is definitely a hefty figure. He's currently on waitlist right now as the recording of this video, and I actually got him through the waitlist. I missed when he first came out, and my waitlist fulfilled, which surprised me. So here we are. So let's go ahead and get this guy opened up and take a look at all the stuff he comes with. And every Mezco figure comes with this 1/12 figures, product care guidelines, you know, how to move the figure, what not to do to make sure you don't damage it, and the fact that these are for 18 years and up. So there's your disclaimer. And then this figure does have 2 different heads, and they both feature a light up function, which is pretty cool. So you get 4 batteries, and I believe 2 batteries for one head and 2 batteries for the other head. So get a Mezco to give you 2 sets, because we know these batteries don't last very long. Although I'll say my dark side I've had for, 4 or 5 years, whenever he came out, and those batteries still work in dark side, which is weird. Most other batteries die. But these batteries are LR754, in case you need to order them. So I always like that they tell you the battery type. So there's that. Let's go ahead and look at the figure now. There's 3 different levels of goodness here. So here's Slugfest. I don't know if this is a new body. I think it might be. I can't imagine they'd use the Hulk body. It's definitely not dark side body. So I think it's a new body. New sculpt. There's one head. There's the other head. And he comes with some different hands. Looks like 5 different hands. Apparently some of these gauntlets are spring-loaded. So we'll see how that works. I'm really curious about that. And if I lift up this one, which is not easy to do, this figure's heavy. Here's the next level of stuff. And this here is his pet, which is, if I can find it, B3GO, Arachnodoodle mech pet. So Mezco loves making up their own stuff. And then there's that rock crusher hand. I believe it's instead of putting a normal hand on, you can put that on, like he's pulverizing stones. And then there's an axe, which is called the Hodgepodge Hatchet. And then an anvil on a chain. I think it's actual metal chain. And then up here is the diesel-based moonshine. So craziness. And then here is the cool looking base. I love they use that emblem on the base. Very Art Deco looking. Reminds me of like a BioShock. This guy reminds me of a Big Daddy, now that I think about it. There's the 4 batteries, your bag for collecting the pieces if you don't want to keep your packaging, and then a flight stand, which I don't know. I know they always give flight stands to all their characters, but for him, you're going to have to probably put it around his leg or something, or his arm, because it won't fit around his waist. So let's get all this goodness unpackaged and dive in a little deeper. All right, here is Slugfest out of packaging, and everything he comes with is displayed here for us to look at. So quite a bit of stuff actually for this release. We'll start with some of the hands here. They look pretty good. He has 5 extra pairs of, I guess they call them normal hands. The right hands we see are the kind of bluish ones, and the left hands are the reds. They're different colors. And this one here is like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Look at that. It's like, hey, bro. Good detail. Good detail on these hands. Like a mech look. He's a really big figure, Slugfest. Really nice paint. Some nice dry brushing. You can tell these are like metal gauntlets, metal hands. And some of the paint's been worn away with some silver dry brushing. Really great detail here from Mezco and their paint apps. And then here's the Hodgepodge hatchet. So I take Slugfest as maybe working in some type of like old type of like machine shop, or like a car shop or something. And he's just kind of like put together all this equipment. So this Hodgepodge hatchet, there's like string there holding it together at the bottom, different types of like maybe metal, or those are maybe teeth, animal teeth. Just really intricate details here. Nice paint apps, different colors. You can tell he used a multitude of different types of pieces to make this hatchet, a Hodgepodge hatchet. Really cool. And then here's the Anvil. It's not metal, but it feels a little cold, but it's definitely not metal. But the paint apps in this Anvil are really good too. There's a hole on top. I'm not sure that's from the injection mold, or maybe, I don't really know. Maybe Anvils are supposed to have stuff like that. I'm not sure. But there's a hole there maybe for something to rest on. I'm not positive. But the detail work, the sculpting, the coloring, it looks like it's rusted a little bit. Excellent job on this Anvil. I think it'd be cool if he came with a huge sledgehammer. Like, he seems like the type of dude that would carry a sledgehammer. But regardless, and then it has a chain. So I guess this can go around like his arm or something. Like he swings this thing in battle. It's a weapon. And he might use it to make his weapons. So pretty cool there. And then here's this B3GO. I'm not sure if it's pronounced like Bego or Bigo or something like that, but it says arachnid pet. And it has 4 arms, 4 legs on each side, and the legs do move. They just move in and out. They don't move up and down. They're not on ball joints, but it allows for you to get some type of articulation with like it's crawling or walking. And then its mouth hinges open. Check that out. Look at that. That's really cool. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Some nice detail work here. Mezco has done a really good job with this release. I think, because it's their own IP, they don't have a licensing cost involved, so they can kind of go all out with their own stuff. A little bit more than maybe they would with like a licensed thing like DC or Marvel. But these pistons don't move, but it does hinge right here. But look at this thing, again, like a hodgepodge. Like he's made this thing. All these cans and different pieces of metal. And those teeth are kind of sharp, so be kind of careful. These are for 18 and up, so you don't want little ones around this, but I mean, you could easily, cut yourself, I think, maybe. They're pretty sharp. It's almost like this is like a, I was thinking like a George Foreman grill or something he used. I think that, I'm just going to go with it. It's a George Foreman grill for the mouth. Man, imagine that thing being hot, and then with the teeth, and then chomping down on your arm or something. Oh, I can see some awesome shots, some toy photography shots with this guy. That's really awesome. And then he also has a chain and then a faux leather strap to go around Slugfest arm. Again, like it's his little pet. So there's that. Here is the XXX Moonshine, which is a diesel-based moonshine. So I don't know if like Slugfest is like part machine. He doesn't look like it. But regardless, this dude is like slugging like this diesel-based moonshine. And the cool thing is this cork actually comes out. I mean, it's not hollow inside. It definitely ends down there, but look at that. A little cork. They didn't have to do that. So again, I can see some cool toy photography. This cork is out in one hand and he's like down in it and someone's like, photoshopped some like liquid coming out or using some type of effect piece. Like he's down in this like nasty diesel based moonshine. And again, good work on this piece. If I display this guy, I would definitely probably have this on display somewhere, either on the ground by his feet or him holding it. And then here is the Rock Crusher hand. And this is a little tight now. It's spinning now, but all these spin. I think they're supposed to spin together, but they're kind of tight. But still, it's cool. They didn't have to make them spin. They could have just been static. But that's a cool piece. Really cool. And then here's the secondary head sculpt. And to me, this looks very, Art Deco as well. I definitely like the one he comes with, and we'll look at that in a second, more than this one. Oh, this is damaged. Look at this. Oh, man. It's like he just got, like, hammered in the back of the head. So it makes you wonder if Slugfest has made, like, additional heads for himself. Like, maybe this was his original head, and he got into a fight with another Rumble Society character, and they just totally bashed in the back of his head and the side of his head. And he's like, oh snap, I gotta do something about this. I gotta make myself a new head. And then boom, you have this head. Speaking of that head, let's take a look at this thing. I don't have the batteries in yet. When I do that process, I'll kind of show you guys. But look at that, he has a buzzsaw coming out the top of his head. How awesome is that? I haven't looked at this guy too much in detail since before this review. Look at all these gears back here, or whatever they are, pipes, something, making him tick. And then the back of his, I haven't seen the back of his shirt yet either. Pat's discardatory, wow. Pete's discardatory. Poor Pete. Pete looks like he's had better days, seen better days. And then the overalls, man, they're weathered really good, dirty. There's pockets that actually open back here. Man, Mezco has done a really good job with this guy. Let me zoom out a little bit. Sorry about that. I was trying to give you some good detail here. The zipper does work, and it was zipped up to about right here when it came out of the package. But I was trying to check articulation to see what they got, so I kind of unzipped them. Sorry, Slugfest, we're gonna kind of do some invasion here, but it's just pants. He's wearing pants down here, and this is the ball joint at the abdomen. So as you can see, awesome sculpt work. I don't think this is the Hulk. I don't have the Hulk from Ragnarok. So maybe if you do, you can let me know if this is maybe a reuse. I highly doubt it, but it's painted really good. So it's like he has like human flesh here, but the rest of him, as you can see, is blue. So I don't know what that's all about. Again, Mezco has a write-up about this guy on their site. But let me zip him back up, because if I was Slugfest, I'd be either a little embarrassed or a little mad at me right now. And I don't want to incur this guy's wrath. So these zippers can be finicky sometimes. I'll have to do it off camera, I think. But as you can see, the zipper works. So that is really cool. I'm getting it. It's just finicky. If you had the James Gordon Mezco figure, and you've ever tried putting on that vest or whatever he has, that thing was a nightmare to get on. But yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time. But yeah, kind of like that is how he came in package. Let me zoom back out again. So for articulation, and I went over it a little bit, for a big guy, and as you probably know, Mezco is not known for good articulation with their bigger figures, but personally, I don't really have a problem with that, because it's a bigger figure and there's muscles involved. It's gonna be harder to have a lot of articulation. But with that said, his head, looks down pretty good. And then it doesn't really look, it doesn't look back because it pops out. But then, you can turn it side to side. It does rock a little bit. And since we have that off, let me just pull that one off. It came off really easy, which is nice. And there's that ball joint, a good sized ball joint. And then this one. Yeah, I definitely like the other one better personally. But this gives you a whole nother look. To me, this is more, I don't think he's such like a tough guy with his head sculpt. He feels more like a servant type deal. I don't know. Like I'm thinking like 3PO, and I don't know why I say that, but I just the look I get from this. I gotta put that one back on. Oh, it looks like this comes off. Oh, this is like a little sleeve right here. So I wonder if you could maybe take that off if you wanted. You probably could and get better range with that neck piece gone. But regardless, his arms go out 90. The arms are real tight. The shoulders are tight, and these elbows are super tight. So word of caution, if you have this guy or get him, just be careful when you're first doing this because they're a little tight. But you know, his arm can go all the way up. He can actually go all the way around probably. With the shirt, I'm not going to do it though. And then the elbow is only a single joint, and it only goes up about that far. But if you can see here, let me zoom in here, see if I can get this. The spring-loaded gauntlets. You can see the spring right there. And honestly, all it does is it moves up. So that gives you a little bit more of articulation, but it's cool that it does it, but I don't know what purpose it serves. Other than it's something to play with, right? But hey, you know, this is Mezco's design, and they're trying different stuff. You can see those pistons moving. I can get this in the light. See those pistons moving? Pretty neat. And then the hand doesn't have a whole lot. It's like on a ball joint. The hand's a ball joint. Or is it a ball hinge? Let's pull it off and see. If I can. Wow. Just knocked over something. Yeah, it's a ball hinge joint, and you can see it. Ball hinge joint. That was on there good. And again, there's no chest articulation, but there is a rotation, a ball joint in the waist. Well, is it a ball joint? I think it is, but it doesn't do a lot of ball movement. It's more of just like a twist, but still pretty good. And then his legs kick up about 90. You know, his legs are real short. He's more upper body. And then his knees come down about 90, single joint knee. And then his boots, the boots look really nice. Let me zoom in the boots. And it's got tread. So I know if you're coming from Hot Toys, this is the big thing. Tread watch. But really cool looking. You can see his laces, the eyelets for the laces. The foot does rotate left to right. It's on a ball joint, so it looks up pretty good, or goes up pretty good. Goes down okay. The rocker isn't the best. That way a little bit because of these big old calf muscles. He's got some huge muscles here. It's hard to see, but the muscles are really big. So, you know, not the best articulation, but again, he's a big dude. And I think you could probably get him in some cool poses, which we'll try in a minute. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is open up these heads, put the batteries in. Oh, speaking of the batteries, I want to show you guys something. If you notice here, these batteries are probably, man, 2 to 3 times bigger than a typical battery that goes into a Mezco's figurehead. Because his head's so big, they can get bigger batteries. So I think these batteries will last longer than your typical Mezco batteries because they're like quadruple the size of a normal battery. So let me get one of these heads opened up, and I'll show you how the batteries work and how we turn the light up fixture on for the head. Okay, so this one's real simple. You do need to have a really small screwdriver like I have here. It's like a PC screwdriver. Mezco didn't provide one. Sometimes they do, but they didn't this time. But you just unscrew this screw right here, and then the whole ball joint part comes out. And then you just put 2 of the batteries in like that. And because the batteries are so much bigger, it was so easy to put these in. I wasn't, you know, ready to throw the head because I couldn't get them in. And then simply put this in. Well, I won't do it, but you just turn it on. And there it is. Let me turn some lights off here. Get an idea of how bright it is. Because the head is yellow, it kind of goes through. Here, I'll show you guys in a second. No, I don't have the head. I don't have the ball joint on. Let me get the ball joint back on. Okay, I still have some lights on in my room, but you can see it actually lights up pretty good. It's not as bright as in real life as it looks in the camera. If I focus in, maybe I can fix that. No, yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, but regardless, you know, it lights up pretty good because the head is yellow. It's kind of bleeding through, but it's not bad. It's just a yellow helmet, so it's kind of cool. It's like a face where the face skin is bleeding through, the light's bleeding through, so it looks good. And I got him in this pose with his, you know, giving that hand. And then there's the Rock Crusher hand. I think this Rock Crusher hand is really neat. Very cool. Very cool. And if we zoom in right here, if I can get it, his name is embroidered on his tunic, Slugfest. Yeah, but look at the detail on the tunic. I mean, it's really nice. Everything's stitched real good. The dry brushing there, that's kind of what the head looks like right there, is what it looks like for me in real life, not in camera. So yeah, pretty cool. Let me pop on the other head and show that one lit up. Okay, so this head is exactly the same way. This is probably the easiest I've ever had with putting on a Mezco, putting Mezco batteries in. Super easy. One screw, 2 batteries go in, put the screw back in, and then turn this thing on, and voila. And if we pop this head on the body, if I can focus back out a little bit for you guys, one more, there we go. Now, even though this is red, it's actually bleeding through quite a bit on top of the head. Up here, it's bleeding through quite a bit. But, you know, for this character, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, it's bleeding through on the sides, too, as you can see. I think it actually looks cool. Very cool. So which head do you guys like better? That one? Or this one? I feel like the buzzsaw is just the winner for me. And the shape of the head. Although that one that's on right now really gives me a 50s sci-fi vibe. And then there's his hodgepodge hatchet. Put some lights back on. Pretty cool detail. I would not want to be going against this guy with this hatchet like this. Man, it's crazy. So let's go ahead and get one with him with the Moonshine Bottle. All right, here's Slugfest with the diesel-based Moonshine Bottle down in his right hand. And then I even got the cork. He's uncorked it with his left hand. So that hand can actually hold the cork, which is really neat. And you can tell he's been at it. He's been feeling the moonshine. He's got his foot up. His head's kind of cocked. He's enjoying that moonshine. And then there it is right there. Because the articulation isn't as good because the arms are so thick, you can't really get it like he's drinking out of it because the elbows don't bend enough because those gauntlets and the muscles. But still, I mean, this is this is a cool look. Very lighthearted look. With him. Let's just try the other head and just see what it looks like. Sometimes the heads can make a whole nother like expression, like just a different feel. So you can maybe have him looking up at the cork like, ah, look at that. Oh, and I took this ring off around the neck. So you can see there, you can have his head on still, and it still works. And I think it gives you more articulation with the ring off. Yeah. Well, a little bit, but then it wants to pop off. Because this ball joint doesn't move because it's plastic and it's a part of the where the batteries go, the range on it doesn't go back as far. But still, really cool look. Let's get one with him with the Anvil and his pet. So here's a pretty cool look. I've got Slugfest with his Anvil. He's holding his right hand. He's got it slung around his chest. The chain is around his chest, and he's holding that anvil with his left hand. Just kind of like saying, let's go, man. You want to go? I got an anvil here. I got to swing at your face. So there's different ways you can, you know, make this anvil work. You can just have it hanging on his body. Like it's like just hanging. I don't know. But yeah, different ways you can have him do this. Now, there's going to be people that are going to probably use Photoshop for some shots with him like swinging this thing and throwing it, chucking it at somebody. So a lot of options with this guy. A lot more options than I initially thought with his figure for looks. And then let's get him with his animal here. Okay, and here's Slugfest walking his Arachnodoodle mech pet. B3GO. Arachnodoodle mech pet. And maybe he's, you know, sniffing out some diesel-based moonshine. And there we go. Really cool. And there's a lot of display options for this guy right here. You know, walking his pet. Look at that. That is really cool. Oh my goodness, what a crazy release. You know, I'm glad I got them. I don't have all of the Rumble Society stuff. Some of it doesn't suit me or suit my interests, but a lot of it's, you know, just, you know, crazy stuff like this. And once in a great while, there's a release that I'm like, wow, I just got to get that. And like I said, I missed out on this guy. He's on waitlist currently. You can only get him through Mezco's site, to my knowledge. He's an exclusive there, and he's $100. So for the size of this figure, and for what you're getting, you know, quite a few accessories, some cool stuff like the Anvil and that Moonshine thing and the pet. You know, I think it's worth it if you're into Mezco and you like Mezco stuff. I would definitely consider, you know, maybe putting yourself in the wait list and see what happens. My wait list converted, which I've had pretty good success on Mezco's site, apart from Batman figures. There's a few Batman figures I missed, some variations that I was on wait list. I'm still on the wait list. I'm never going to get them. But I got this one. I got the Gomez James Bond, the El Cucaracha Casino one, which is my favorite Gomez. So I got a couple converted for me. I also have another one of these. I forget what he's called. He's like the snake guy, the Viper Spec Ops guy. I've got him on wait list. We'll see what happens with that one. Hasn't converted yet. But anyway, let's go ahead and do some comparisons with Mezco figures kind of similar in size to this guy. Okay, before some comparisons, we're going to do some so a weigh-in for this guy. I love doing a scale weigh-in for these big figures. Then also a size, a height, to see how tall he is. So it's kind of hard to tell from there, but if I look down my eye here, he is 7 inches 3/4 in height, 7.75. So he's a good size figure. Now, as far as the weight, the big moment, the scale weigh-in. All right, let's see what he weighs in at. So Slugfest weighs in at 13.9 ounces. So he's not as heavy as some other Mezco figures, but he's still hefty. He's a big boy. Okay, let's go ahead and do some comparisons now. All right, the first comparison is Mezco 1/12 Collective Thanos. And I just measured Thanos. He comes in at exactly 8 inches. So he's about a 1/4 inch taller than Slugfest. Of course, I have his head tilted a little bit, so he might be a little bit taller, but side-by-side comparison, I thought Slugfest was really big, but man, Thanos is still one of the biggest, I think the biggest Mezco figure that I have to date. Okay, here's Slugfest next to Mezco 1/12 Collective Darkside. Still one of my favorite Mezco figures to date. I love Darkside. I just measured him, and even though his head is cocked the way I have him posed, he measured in at 7 inches, 7 3/4 inches. So same height as Slugfest. But he is polystone. So you know what? Let's actually do a little weight comparison here and see what Darkside is compared to Slugfest. I'm really curious about this kind of stuff. So let's see here. If we turn this back on, and we put Darkside. Darkside comes in at 1 pound, 1.5 ounces. So that polystone really makes a difference in the weight, even though they're comparable in size. Because Darkside's polystone, he just weighs more. All right, here's Slugfest next to Mezco 1/12 Collective Gomez Void Wars Crimson Night Edition, which is a hard figure to find. I can't believe I got him. I'm still shocked. But he comes in at about 6.5 inches, so he's much smaller. But here's a good comparison for two Rumble Society figures that Mezco makes. And finally, is Slugfest next to Mezco 1/12 Collective Dr. Doom, which is, you've watched my channel, you know Dr. Doom is my favorite figure, one of my favorite comic book characters. And they look pretty cool side by side. You know, Doom is just about 7 inches, a little under, so Slugfest is definitely bigger than Doom, although size matters not to Doom, right? But yeah, what a cool way to compare some of these figures. If you collect Mezco, and through the years you have them, it's nice to kind of throw these up side by side for mashups to see how they look. You know, Dr. Doom's Marvel, Slugfest is Rumble Society, but I think side by side, I could see these two guys battling in the comics. Be really neat. But anyway, that's a cool comparison. So at the end of the day, I'm glad I have this figure. I'm glad my wait list converted. I think it's a really cool figure. Love Mezco stuff for the most part. Typically always impressed with Mezco. And I think if you like Mezco, if you're into Rumble Society, this will probably be a good figure for you to get if you can get your hands on it. If you already have them, let me know what you think of them. I know a lot of people don't like the limited articulation in figures this size, which is kind of standard fare. I mean, that Thanos you saw, I think his articulation is worse than Slugfest. Same with Darkseid, not very good articulation. But I've always said, with big figures, you don't need a lot of articulation because they can look very imposing with simple things like a tilt of the head, up or down or sideways, one fist raised, things like that, a fist behind the back. So there's different ways to make them look really cool without having dynamic articulation. That's my thoughts. Again, I like this figure a lot, but let me know your thoughts. You know, if you guys enjoy what you're seeing, you know, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel. If you know, like and comment, specifically commenting. I love to reply back to you guys to see what you think about the content and of course about the figures and your take on them. So until next time, this has been Mezco 112 Collective, Rumble Society Slugfest.